Yeah, our guys had a ton of energy out there today, so it was good to see. Sometimes you go to a different place, you don't know how guys are going to react, but we had a really great practice today, full of energy. Guys are running around, competing against each other. So it was fun to be out here and just see them, step back and just see the way they work. It's awesome practice.
How do you go about replacing a guy like Mosley, and how hard is it to see him to lose him first year?
Yeah, first thing is just it's just tough to see Mosley go down. Just all the things he's battled through and the type of training camp, the season he was having, and I was just fired up for him to just have a complete year. And he did a lot of great things for us. So that's tough to replace. It's hard to replace a guy. We try to do our best, with the guys that we have, but losing Mosley definitely hurts. He's just such a great teammate, great person, great player for us, and we're truly going to miss him.
What do you need to see from Jason Barrett before you kind of give him the green light to be activated?
Yeah, we opened Jason's window, so Jason is still working through. So we'll give him that window to see, how he comes through on that. So we're still taking our time with him, and when the time is right, we'll have him.
Is it your eyes that are going to make that decision? Is it your feedback that you're getting from him?
It's a complete. It's everybody. Everybody's looking at that. It's JV, it's coaches, it's trainers. Everybody is involved in that process. Just want to make sure we do the right thing by JV.
What are the Falcons' biggest challenges?
Their biggest challenges, one thing about the Falcons is they're physical and they finish. They run the ball, right? They run the ball. They don't try to hide it. They're not disguising it. They want to run the ball. They want to play smash mouth football, and they've done a great job this year of sticking to the run. Even when they've been down, they continue to run the ball, and they've been successful at it, like top 3 in the league at running the football. So, we have our hands full when it comes to, stopping the run this week.
How has Ambry Thomas looked in practice the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, Ambry's been fine. Ambry's still working, competing, and he's looked fine.
With the next man out mentality, when you look at guys that make a jump from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3, what is it about their off-season program that makes the difference for them?
It's what I've seen. It's just how truly committed our guys to diving in, right? I think that first year is always tough because you don't really have an off season. It's combine, it's prep, it's training for all of those drills and things. So that second year, that's where you see the biggest jump when guys just get to focus on football. They understand the scheme that they're in. They understand the techniques that's asked of them. Now they can go away and truly work on those things and get better at playing football. And that's the biggest, that's where guys see the biggest jump that year 2 if they are truly dedicated to becoming the best player that they can be. So it all starts with the mindset of the player first. Do you want to be the best? Are you going to train like that? Are you going to work and do the extra to be the best? Or are you just going to be average, and the average guys won't stick around?
Commodore Lenore, did you see that from him? Is that why he
Yeah.
decided to make more of a
Yeah, I've seen Demo. His mindset was just different. Coming into year 2, I could see he had a clear mind, and he came in and he worked and he got better. And you saw that, and you see the fruits of that, him being on the field and earning an opportunity to be out there with the guys is because of the work that he put in and the mindset that he had, that he wanted to be a part of it.
Because the other week we were talking about being strong on the edges. You're talking about how that gave you some leeway and freedom to make calls.
Yeah.
When you take Mosley out of the equation, does that have an effect on what you feel comfortable doing and things you can call and things like that?
Yeah, I think always, anytime you lose a starter, a guy that's plays at a high level like Mosley, it's going to be different, right? It's going to be different. It's not the same. And so it's going to be a challenge for sure. But the thing about our team and the guys we have is nobody flinches, right? Everybody has E-man's back, and we're going to strap it up and be ready to go for them. And everybody's going to go out and compete at their best, right, to get this one for E-man.
Along those same lines of having Charvarius, how much confidence does that give you? And back to when you guys brought him in, how much input do you have in, when you guys are pursuing free agents or looking at them?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on
Yeah, well, we all, as coaches, defensive coaches, I look at all the positions along with the position coaches, and we come together, and everybody has their opinion, and we kind of rank guys of where we see them. And Mooney was one of those guys that of course, we loved. And, you don't know if you can get guys because the contract and situation, that's not ours. But just looking at the film and watching the player, loved his tape and loved what he could bring to our team. So excited about having him, and he's been everything that we could have hoped for, right? He's came out and he's competed every day. He's challenged guys to become better. And that's the one thing you like in free agent, which you don't know when you get guys in free agency, because it's different from the draft process where you're interviewing and you're spending a lot of time meeting with these guys. It's different from the free agent process. So, we were lucky to get a great guy and a great player all in one.
Do you
Do
expect
that
to,
with a 4-year guy? Do you go back to the draft from 4 years previously and look at how much time you spent around him and kind of reflect on what kind of guy he impressed you to be back then?
Yeah, I think you always look back at those notes and you can tell, like, man, I like this guy. It's always I like this guy when he came out. You like a certain number of guys that you highlight that you want as rookies. Can't get them all, but you always kind of follow those guys that you like, and they always stick in your mind. So it's cool when you miss a guy as a rookie, but you're able to come back and get him as a free agent. And to get a guy like Mooney, that was an unbelievable pickup for us.
How has who improved since you got him a year ago?
Yeah, Charles has shown tremendous improvement. When we first got him, he was in a different scheme, asked to do different things. So it takes time to understand how to play our scheme. And Charles has done a great job of working with Coach Kasarik and Coach Tapp. And you're seeing like his length and his physicality. It shows up on Sunday. He's able to make plays, because of that.
What was the biggest difference, maybe the biggest adjustment to this scheme for him?
I think it's just the attack style of football. Like when we're coming off the ball and we're attacking, we're trying to reset the line of scrimmage. So it's not only just attacking, but it's a certain footwork, it's a certain technique, certain things with your hands, your eyes, your key. So it's a lot of little intricate details that goes into playing D-line for us. It's not just get off the ball and go right freely. It's about doing it in a controlled manner that allows them to continue to be the strength of the team and make plays in the run game and in the pass game.
What do you think of your interior guys that are stepping in for Eric and Javon and Hassan Ridgeway?
Yeah, I think Kevin and Riz, they've done a great job with the more reps that they've given. You see them. For me, I've seen them get better the more they're out there. Riz he's done a great job playing stout for us. Kevin he's just been consistent. Ever since Kevin has been here, even last year, like Kevin is the same. He continues to make plays for us over and over again. So Kevin has done great. Spence has came in, in a backup role, rotational role, and he's provided some good plays for us as a depth player. So the guys that we have, the way we rotate those guys, I think it helps so nobody is getting too taxed or too many reps. Guys are able to go out and play fresh, play fast.
How much has Drake Jackson improved since week one?
Yeah, Drake is still coming. Drake is competing. He's getting better. He's getting there. Yeah, he still has a ways to go, but he's doing a good job of being dialed in with everything that we're asking him to do.
do you expect to see Kyle Pitts on Sunday? And when you're doing scout team stuff for him, do you put a receiver there or do you put a tight end there?
Yeah, we do expect to see Kyle Pitts. I know he's back at practice, so we expect to see him out there. And when we are, scout team guys, whoever gets it there, it could be a tight end, it could be a receiver, and that's kind of like who Kyle Pitts is, right? Sometimes he can line up inside and be a blocker. Sometimes he's out as a wide receiver running, go balls. So he does a little bit of everything, and I know he's an intricate piece to what they have on their offense that allows them to do many different things out of multiple personnel groupings because of the flexibility that Kyle gives them. And
how has the other tight end, Parker Hess, looked, and does he give them a different look when he's in the backfield?
Yeah, I think it's cool about their offense is they have all these different tight ends and backs, but they all kind of play the same position. So they do a lot of different things, a lot of different people, and I think it's cool for them because they can get to a lot of different plays with multiple people and try to confuse defenses, and they do a good job of mixing it up.
Are Mariota's runs come in just in a bunch of different ways, whether they're designed or like you worry about getting flushed out with that pass rush and him turning the edge? Is that?
Yeah, well, first thing first for this week, we're worried about stopping the run.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's one thing that we're committed to, and we know they're going to be committed to it as well.
You guys good?
I mean, how has Mariota changed and evolved because of the system? Watching him play.
Yeah, I think the thing with Mariota is what he brings to that team, just to his ability with the quarterback run threat. Like when an offense has that has that threat. It's tough on the defense. You have to account for the quarterback. You have to play 11 on 11 football. So he brings that element to them, which makes them even better because they're really good at just running normal runs. And then you throw in the quarterback run element. It's a lot to defend. So we have our hands full, but we're up for the challenge. All right. Thank you, guys.
You had said a couple weeks ago, Jeff Wilson is one of your favorite players and your son's favorite player. I'm sure there's a lot of different things that go into that, but what are some qualities about him that makes you say that?
Oh, what Jeff is that, I mean, Jeff comes here with a smile on his face every day. He works as hard as anybody. He's pleasant to be around. He's always trying to get better. He's tough as nails. I mean, it's hard to get him out of a game. He's diligent. He's a very professional player as far as his preparation. I mean, I could keep going. He runs hard. He finishes. He's a good teammate. He's a great person to coach. I mean, Jeff's a consummate pro. He comes here every day. And what I love about him too is that, you know, I get grumpy. I mean, you know, and Jeff doesn't. He comes to work every day with a smile on his face, ready to work, and he's a pleasure to be around. And I'm really happy that when he's gotten his opportunities, he's been able to have some success.
How would you just kind of describe the overall offensive mood right now after getting a nice game like that in Carolina as compared to where you were maybe 2-3 weeks ago?
You know, it's nice to have the production, obviously. So, like I said, it's always nice to walk in after a win and talk about your production. But in the same sense, it's still about how we're doing. You know, you still are going to evaluate every step you take and all the little things that we could be doing better. And we're still not there. Like we talked about even early in the season when there wasn't the production, there was a lot of good things going on, but yet we just weren't getting the production. Right now, I'm not saying it's the opposite now, but it is. You just don't know. All of a sudden, you break one run and you make one big play on a throw, and next thing you know, you're scoring a bunch of points, but yet you've still got a lot to work on. So I think the overall mood is one that it's nice to win. It's nice to be a little more productive, but at the same time, I think everybody knows there's a lot of work still to do.
How do you think Jalen Moore did last week?
I think Jalen bounced back and had a really nice game after. You know, he came in at the end of the Denver game and really struggled, you know, and then the next week came in and played better and is really, this week was a really good game for him. I mean, he was up to the challenge. He gave up a sack. He was laid off the count. That's not to say he didn't give it up. He gave it up. You got to get off on the snap count. But he got off late on the count, and 53 got the edge on him and got the sack. But Jalen performed better. He rose up. He was disappointed in himself how he ended that Denver game, and he really came back and has performed.
Was mistakes, you know, Debo talked about mistakes that you guys made in Carolina. A couple of other people did too. Was that a theme after the game that, you know, the score indicates that we blew this team out, but, you know, there's improvements that we could have made in that game?
Well, I think that everybody's really to a point now where what are we, 5 games in right now, that you would expect these things to, you know, not be as many, and there were more probably than anybody would have wanted or expected. And I think that's probably why you think, you know, we should be hitting our stride and starting to feel good. And even though, you know, maybe it feels like we're improving, and I'm sure we are incrementally, I think guys still look at it and say, you know, there's still so much work to be done. And each player, you know, Debo could have been talking about, I don't know, you'd have to ask him about himself, about the receiver room, I don't know. But I think overall in general, there's always work to be done. And we are a team that, excuse me, needs to develop and keep working to get better throughout this season.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo one of the guys that speaks up and points that out, or is that strictly coaches?
It's coaches. We're not a big. There's not a lot of players that call other players on our offense. I don't think. Maybe on defense it's different. I've been on teams I've been on a team where Peyton Manning was the quarterback. He called out everybody, including the owner and the general manager. So I mean, it's we all got called out. I got a great story on that. It's not for now, but about Peyton, But yeah, so there have been a lot of teams like that. Chris Carter with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, I can go, the list goes on of players that are really hard on other players. And our team's much more coach-driven. Kyle and the coaches and everybody really pointing out what needs to be worked on and improved upon. And then, you know, within our groups, we stay on each other, I think, and guys are pretty good that way. But it's mostly coach-driven.
Does Tevin Coleman look more explosive now than a couple of years ago when he was on the team, or is that an optical illusion?
I think it's been the same. I think he's always been a real explosive player. I remember him coming out of college, and I remember him playing for Kyle in Atlanta and what a good job he did. I remember him with us a couple years ago, but, you know, he's also been out a little bit, so maybe there is some freshness. There's some spring in his legs. We always talk about it. When a guy's been out a few weekends, come back to practice, it's fresh legs. He looks different than everybody else when he gets back out there again because he hasn't had the wear and tear of everyday practice.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tev's awesome. We talked about it, I think, last week or the week before. We just talked about his explosiveness on the field and when these guys were going to get their opportunities, and Tev went out there and really did a great job. And it's just so nice for him. I mean, to get 2 touchdowns, it's awesome for a guy that is on the practice squad, was not working anywhere, and now he's here and scores twice for us. It was really cool.
How's JP Mason progressing?
He's doing a good job. Just keeps grinding away, and when he's ready, he's going to be ready. He's still a young player that's developing, and when there's a guy like Tev with experience in the offense, and Jeff Wilson as well, it is definitely a challenge for him. But he does a great job. I said every week he works hard, and when his op comes, we'll probably be surprised how well he does.
Kyle was saying that Ayuk was not playing probably pass catching him basically, so he's playing his butt off. And we've talked in the past about his blocking. And is he, like, from a year ago, is his technique better, or is that just a matter of desire and being a more willing blocker?
He was. There were times last year that they got cranked up, and I mean, when you talk about a Rams game that we played in Levi Stadium, I mean, they got after it. The Minnesota. I mean, there's some games that stick out where they competed every single snap. They've never not blocked. That's one thing about Kyle's offense that always goes back to his dad, and the receivers are going to block. If you're going to play in this offense, you're going to block. And so Brandon and Debo and all those guys have embraced it. Juwan, I mean, holy cow. Those guys really enjoy blocking. Obviously, like any receiver, they want to get their catches and they want to do those things, and then it's a give and take with them. But these guys are more than willing to do an excellent job, whatever we ask them to do. And BA's done that his whole career. It's like anything else, the consistency of it and all that, it's maybe being noticed a little bit more now because it's probably more consistent, like all of his game is more consistent right now.
Take 2 more? Anybody? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.